good morning, participants. This is this session on outcome-based teaching learning, a very important session on education. Here, in the beginning, I would request you to kindly ask anything wherever you find is relevant. I am also a learner like you. Now, we all know that we are in a world which is undergoing a constant change. It's changing like anything. Is our traditional education system able to equip ourselves to face the requirements of the changing world or not? And in fact, 21st century life is marked by rapid, constant change. Our students will be faced with the need to continually learn and adapt to new contexts, expectations, and technologies throughout their lives. See, in our case, we learned something about, let's say, 30 years back or 20 years back, and we are still using those. Upgradation has not been that demanding, but now our students need to be adjust themselves, face technologies which are changing. Now, in order to be successful, they will have to know how to successfully navigate shifting careers, learning new jobs, roles, and relationships as they go. They will have to transform broken system. Now systems, businesses, they are successful maybe for 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, broken systems and failed organizations and create new ones that are more ethical, effective, and hopefully socially just. Now, since the problem, in order to handle this kind of situation, we need to train our students in a technology where they are able to adjust themselves with the changing environments. Now the problem here is, though we have been following traditional system, but the problem is that we as educators who teach students were not taught all the things, how to handle this kind of environment, rapid environment changing. We were not taught how to create positive change in the world through good education. As a result, we do not know really how to handle it. Although we hope that our curriculum is providing students with the knowledge and skills they will need they will need for the world, but practice in practice is lacking. So our current knowledge gap recalls several questions. How can we teach and train our students to be creative and innovative, to create positive change? Positive change when we, that means teachers, do not know how much change happens, how things are changing. We as teachers also do not know much. Now, if I do not know much, how can I design strategy to handle it? So the challenge is when teachers don't know themselves, how will they train the student? What kind of knowledge, skills, competencies, and habits of mind do our students really need to act as ethical and effective agents of change? Now, so far, a lot of emphasis have been on textbook teaching, textbook learning. So, textbook learning and teaching lectures are important, no doubt about it, for academic success, but are inadequate to meet the emerging requirements and challenges of the technological world. Now, please appreciate here. We have been teaching, our teaching have been mainly on textbook based, it's cognitive oriented. We have not been emphasizing other learning skills of the teacher. Now the student must develop relevant skills and competencies when search for a job after graduation and when starting businesses. The youth should know how to work in the emerging technical areas and fields of human communication, time management, stress management, crisis management, financial management, and so on. That means demands on the part of our youth and young boys or young students, young girls and students has become very demanding and is of different type. Now, many of these issues have been addressed by our new education policy NEP 2020 by adopting via outcome-based education framework. Now, many of these aspects have been taken note of and expressed in the document of NEP 2020, and it is expected that in order to handle these things, we have to transform our present education system, which is teacher oriented, towards outcome-based education system, which is student-oriented, which is learner-centric. And outcome-based education system is the choice of practically everyone, every university, every institution all over the world, because it encompasses those aspects which will help the student to be equipped to handle the tremendously exponentially changing technological world. So outcome-based system, holistic approach to educate and transform student into successful and happy person based on desired goals and outcomes. That we understand how the world is changing, we understand what are the requirement of the industry, like say education 4.0 or 5.0, and then in order that our student can face them, we have to design the goals and outcomes which we expect from the students. Now, when I say outcome-based education, it is the most important development education in the past 3 decades. It is enabling us to face the challenges of the modern changing world. Outcome-based learning framework has been adopted by all major universities, institutions around the world. Now, our new education policy 2020 lays strong emphasis on this mode of teaching learning and student higher order thinking attainment. You have been exposed these things in other lectures also, but here I am expressing these, I am emphasizing these with a view that when I am choosing any teaching learning method, then I have to see what I'm emphasizing. See, in the when I say outcome-based approach emphasizes what do we want the student to imbibe or able to do, then what kind of knowledge, what kind of skill, attitude, and behavior they should adopt. How can you best help students achieve this? That means student-centered learning. How will you know what they have achieved it? Assessment and evaluation. How do we demonstrate improvement, analyze, act, and improve? That means what kind of teaching learning method be selected, be chosen to equip the students with a view to be able always learning more, always continuously improving. Now, the basic philosophy or outcome-based education approach is because keeping this in mind will help us the methods to learn. OB emphasizes all students have talent. It's the job of the institute to develop it. Role of institution is to find ways for students to succeed rather than finding ways for students to fail. Excellence is for every student and not just for few. Students should collaborate in learning rather than compete. As far as possible, no student should be excluded from any activity in the institute. A positive attitude and mindset is essential on the part of the management and faculty. If you believe that you can get every student to learn well, then they will learn well. Now, with this basic approach, we choose our teaching learning methods. Now, in the OBE framework, it brings out all those essentials which have been emphasized in the outcome-based education framework. That means collaboration, project solving, creativity, in-depth understanding, self-confidence, critical thinking, perseverance, project management, curiosity, empowerment, and so on. So thus indicating that in order to imbibe the 21st century skills in the students, OBE framework offers us those kind of mechanism which we can do this thing. So outcome-based education says select your teaching learning methods which are fulfill the outcome-based education framework, which means our goal is to decide what the student should achieve. How can I do that? By designing a curriculum of that type, then selecting our learning outcome teaching methods, then implementing a proper assessment technology, focusing on continuous improvement, and then looking at how much we are able to achieve it. Now, you have been exposed in other sessions on curriculum design, you have been exposed in other sessions, or you will be exposed on assessments and improvement quality. This session will look at teaching and learning, which are important in order to implement the basic philosophy, the basic principles of outcome-based education, which I have briefly indicated to you in the earlier slides. Because keeping this in mind will help us decide the methods. Another important concept which you have to keep in mind is that learning outcomes. See, the focus of our teaching learning method should be such that we enhance the learning outcomes of students. Now, here is interesting to appreciate what is learning outcome. What is outcome? So, outcome based education framework mandates defining student learnings and ascertaining that the desired learning has been achieved as demonstrated by the student. So, learning outcomes state what a learner is expected to know, understand, and be able to demonstrate at the end of a learning process, at the end of the lectures, at the end of the course, at the end of the program. The way such outcomes are defined and written orients teaching and learning methods, activities, and influences the quality and relevance of education and training. Please appreciate here. The what we want our student to learn will help us decide what kind of which teaching method is relevant, which assessment is relevant. All assessments are not all learning outcomes cannot be assessed by the same assessment. By the way, when I say learning outcome means knowledge, skill, attitude, and behavior. Learning outcomes are defined and designed in such a way that they are attainable and measurable. Teaching learning assessment methods are decided accordingly. Now, just to recall briefly, quickly, student learning outcomes. We have learning outcomes, which mean what is the knowledge student has gained, what skill he has developed, what kind of behavior as a human being or ethics he has imbibed, and what kind of behavior, societal concern, or he has developed. See, please, I'm repeating it here. Outcome implies four components. It's for our remembering it: knowledge, skill, attitude, and behavior. When I say what is the learning outcome of the student, then I mean these four components. Some components may be more emphasized in one teaching learning method, another component may be more emphasized in another learning teaching method. But when we are implementing outcome based education, then our teaching learning method must be such that it is appropriate to what we want to assess it. Then motoring and manual skills. Please appreciate here the our goal is the holistic development of our learners as far as knowledge goes, as far as human values goes, as far as his let's say his life goes. So outcome based education like this. So learning out maybe has been classified into three domains: cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. So cognitive is knowledge and skills, at, affective is attitude and behavior, manual and physical skills. Here I will share with you we have been emphasizing mostly on knowledge and on the cognitive domain. Here also more emphasis has been on the knowledge as compared to skills. We have never been emphasizing we have never been emphasizing the teaching learning in the affective domain and in the psychomotor domain. And please, as Professor Meenakshi mentioned, today I will share with you the teaching learning in the affective domain, teaching learning in the psychomotor domain. Only then we can be sure that our teaching learning techniques are appropriate for the holistic development of the of our learner, of our students. So cognitive domain help us decide mental skills. And you have been exposed to these things. Lower order thinking skills. The lower order thinking skills are those that involve knowledge, comprehension, and some types of application. Higher order thinking skills. Higher order thinking skills are those that involve analysis, evaluation, synthesis, and creation. Now, please appreciate our traditional method has given a lot of focus on the lower order thinking skills. Our students are very good. Our faculty is excellent, as good as anywhere in the world. But our system has been such that being examination oriented, where mostly the emphasis has been on finishing the syllabus, passing the examination, teachers are spending their energy in that, students are focusing on that. They have not been able to focus on developing higher order thinking among the students. So goals involving higher thinking skills have embedded in the goals of lower order thinking skills. Now, if I want to develop the higher order thinking skill, lower order thinking skills should have also been there. Now, since we have been emphasizing doing the higher lower order thinking skills, now building on that, developing and fostering higher thinking skill among students will not be difficult. Only thing will be we have to focus on our teaching appropriate teaching, learning, and assessment methods, which enable us to focus on the learning of a student. So, what kind of level of skill you want student to imbibe at the end of the course will decide by the type of the questions. That means assessments. What are skills we need? We need analytical skills, oral communication skills, creative problem solving skills, system thinking skills, ethics and professionalism, technology skills, virtual visual communication skills, written communication skills. Now, please, written doesn't mean only text. Written communication means presenting ideas clearly, concisely, well-structured prose, appropriate style, content to suit audience, utilize data and other information. Kindly see that. Our traditional communication skills have been mainly focused on writing and speaking, but written communication skills are much more in the present context. We have videos, we have we have we have graphical ideas, we have appropriate tools to design. So visual and communication skills, team working skills, design thinking skills, programming skills, self-learning skills, business skills, and so on. Kindly see here, when I am seeing these are the skills which are necessary for a student to succeed in the present day technological world, then obviously we have to prepare, we have to reorient our teaching learning strategies so that student can imbibe these skills, so that student can gain these skills, demonstrate these skills, use these skills in their real life. This I have just mentioned with a view to highlight why we need all these things. Why the focus is on that skill? We know the knowledge, but look at the skills. Skills of various types. Skill is a manual skill, affective skills, cognitive skills, and so on. Now, affective domain, this affective domain includes the manner in which we deal with things emotionally, such as feelings, values, appreciation, enthusiasm, motivations, and attitude. Do we ever discuss with the students the motivation in the cognitive class? No. Do we ever discuss with the students values? No. But you know this thing that our NEP 2020 lays emphasis on value-based education. When I'm having emphasis on value-based education, then how can I embed teaching values in our traditional teaching lifestyle? Now, see, now, dear participants, look at the way I am equipping you with when I have to do teaching learning for the affective domain. What does it involve? It involves values, it involves emotions, beliefs, attitudes. So when I am looking at the affective domain, attitude development, value-based education, then I should try to appreciate all of these things. The method that I choose for teaching learning in the affective domain should be appropriate to this. These are the guide and foundation of our thinking, decision, and behavior and action. Please remember, affective domain has not received that much emphasis in our traditional system, though it's a very important in the modern world. For example, how we think, how we make decisions, how we behave with others. Now we have a global village. There's so much communication between various countries, projects, and so on. So we need to understand the essential components of human behavior, human emotions, and so on. So teaching learning in effective domain would need value-based teaching learning, direct instructions, explicit teaching, directly teaching values through lecture, discussion, and presentation, role modeling. Teachers can model desired behaviors and attitude in their interaction with students. Character education program, implementing structured programs that focus on specific values such as honesty, respect, and responsibility. Now, experiential learning, service. For example, in OBE, we are having social responsibility activities. but we don't measure them. Service learning, engaging the students in community service project to foster empathy, compassion, and social responsibility. Role playing, simulating real life situation to help students understand different perspectives and make ethical decisions. Case studies, analyzing real world examples of ethical dilemmas to encourage critical thinking and value based decision making. Reflective learning, group discussion, facilitating discussions about human values and ethical issues promote critical thinking and empathy. Self assessment, helping students evaluate their own behavior and progress in developing positive values. Kindly see that these things are become so important that in order to equip a student with face this world, we need to focus on the teaching learning of these, like the collaborative learning, cooperative learning, peer tutoring, group discussions, sharing stories, art and music, drama and teacher. Nowadays, now please see that supposing engineering students want the NEP emphasizes multidisciplinary programs. Now supposing engineering student wants to take a music as one of the, let us say, elective papers, or he wants to study music along with this thing, which is many students when do come. In fact, I can share it with you. One of my students, she was very good in drama, and she was a student of IT, BTech student. Now you know engineering program are so extensive. There is very scarcity of time. But she said she used to come to me, sir, I want to participate in the theater. I am very much interested in that. And would you believe I would allow her to go? And now, have you heard the name of Pannu? She is an actress, very renowned actress. And that means she has that inherent natural gift to act. Though now she's doing no more IT, she did BTech in IT, but she is a very successful actress. Now that means, and NEP also emphasizes multidisciplinary approach to student program, to teaching learning. Now this is nothing but lying in the affective domain of Bloom taxonomy. So when I'm teaching when I'm concerned with the affective domain, I should also see how I can help it. How can I do these things? So drama and theater, programming and plays skills. So by incorporating these methods into our teaching, we can help students develop a strong moral compass and become responsible, compassionate, ethical individual. How do I mean by ethical behavior among the students? This is all a part of journalism, encouraging students to reflect on their own values, behavior, and through journalism. And you know what is journalism? Journalism is the practice of regularly writing your own thoughts, feelings, and experiences. It's a powerful tool for self-reflection and personal growth. Here are few benefits. Now, please see here. आप मेरे से सवाल पूछेंगे कि this is a outcome-based education system, teaching learning. How to implement? I can implement teaching learning in this context. Now, many times teachers say, "Sir, student interest नहीं लेते हैं." Kindly see that. That is what our responsibility is. They don't take interest because they many times find what we are teaching them have no value. And you have been reading papers also. Degrees have become papers. So why it has become paper? Because our teaching learning processes has not addressed what our students want. How I can develop the natural abilities of students, creativity, critical thinking, and so on. Outcome-based education provides us a guideline for that. So when I'm saying journalism is a practice of regularly writing your own thoughts, feelings, and experiences. It's a powerful tool for self-reflection and personal growth. Here are a few benefits: clarifying thoughts and feelings. See, when I am, let us say, general manager, supposing you are a general manager, even if you are a teacher, if I understand the feeling of the students, if I understand their thoughts, their way, how they look at it, then they will be more successful better learners. आप कह सकते हैं सर स्टूडेंट इंटरेस्ट नहीं ले रहे हैं, अब इसका जवाब हमें ढूंढना है. We have to find out स्टूडेंट इंटरेस्ट क्यों नहीं लेते हैं. Why, what is lacking in our lectures, what are lacking in our teaching successful teaching method, assessment technique, the student not taking interest. सिर्फ एग्जामिनेशन से उनको पता है कि उनको ये इम्तिहान तो पास कर लेंगे, बट देन दे विल नॉट इम्बाइब अदर स्किल्स. So when I say we focus on teaching in the affective domain, then journalism is one of the techniques of imbibing these things. With this clarifying thoughts and feeling, putting your thoughts on paper can help you understand them better. Stress relief, writing about what's bothering you can be cathartic and reduce stress. Tracking progress, documenting your journey helps you see how far you have come and where you want to go. Boosting creativity, regularly writing can spark new ideas and creative solutions. Please see here, our goal is such that I want my students to become a good human being. I want my students to imbibe the human values. How will they do that? Now, I can appreciate your way of looking at it. सर स्टूडेंट ये तो स्टूडेंट को आना ही चाहिए, ये स्टूडेंट करना ही चाहिए. नो, times have changed. Look at the diversions our young boys and girls are facing. Look at mobile, look at marketing, look at advertising. They divert the attention of the students to various directions. How I make my students alert, how I equip my students so that he faces this modern challenging world and become a successful human being. Please appreciate here. If I might, now you also know that how various governments are coming up of banning social exposure of youngsters to, to social media. That is because they are diversionary methods. They are not helping a student to learn things which are really life in. Their stress is increasing. How can I reduce this stress? The method is one of the methods is this. The third domain, that is psychomotor domain. What does it involve? It involves flexibility, speed, strength, manual strength, agility, and so on. So psychomotor domain you must have done when you were being exposed to Bloom taxonomy, agility. Now these skills, where will the student learn these skills? Now in the multidisciplinary approach to education, the student wants to learn about music. Students want to learn about, let us say, certain techniques of certain games. Now, games involve different kind of skills. They involve manual, they involve physical, involvement. They involve similarly handling equipment. Nowadays, you have seen that if some of you had the exposure of going to a hospital, the kind of equipment that is being made available, built by the industry, look at the robot. Now, in order to manage those things in a physical way, which are available in various situations, we need to train our students. We need to educate our students. Now, such skills are important in fields like in the laboratories, music, sports, hospitals, physiotherapy, nursing, and so on. Please remember, OBE is the educational system applicable to engineering, in fact, across the whole spectrum of our disciplines. In physiotherapy, if a student wants to learn, if a student is to be trained, then we need to know the method of how his manual skills can be developed. Now, in manual skills, maybe regarding the speed, precision, flexibility, and so on. So, psychomotor skills teaching and learning. Teaching and learning psychomotor skills involve the integration of mental and physical ability activity. Here are some key principles and methods. Demonstration and deconstruction. The instructor demonstrates the skill at a normal pace, then breaks it down into smaller, manageable steps. Guided practice. Student practice the skill with guidance and feedback from the instructor. Now see here, the instructor will do these things. Comprehension. Students explain the steps back to the instructor, ensuring they understand each part of the process. Performance. Students perform the skill independently with the instructor providing feedback. Repetition and refinement. Continuous practice and refinement help students master this skill. These methods help in developing skill that require coordination, precision, and timing, such as playing an instrument or playing surgery or using performing surgical operations. Now, please appreciate here. Now, our focus has to be on these things so that holistically student is trained. So when I'm selecting the teaching learning methods, now kindly look at this. When I'm selecting or when I'm choosing teaching learning methods, they must be aligned with the learning outcome. Now repeat, learning outcome, knowledge is skill, attitude and behavior. Now knowledge and skill, the cognitive domain, then the attitude is our affective domain, and behavior and are in the affective domain, and manual competency in the psychomotor domain. Our method has to be accordingly. I have shared some of the methods for affective domain and psychomotor domain. So teaching methods, activities, and assessment criteria are aligned are aligned with the learning outcomes, that is the affective, psychomotor, and so we have to see a correlation between teaching, learning outcomes, and assessment help to make the overall learning experience better, more transparent, and meaningful for our students. That means learning and teaching activities are designed to meet the learning outcomes. Now, please question here so that then we will go over salient teaching learning methodologies which are in practice and how we are to improve on them. Now, please, any questions?
My question with you is basically we have seen a latest trend that the attendance of the students have declined actually. This is the
बहुत
latest
ज़्यादा
trend we have
yes.
seen. Huh. And that is basically, a very demotivating factor for the faculty also, when he finds so few students. If the class is filled, he has the motivation to teach. Otherwise it's just a few students are just sitting, and that also they are mostly not very interested also.
बिल्कुल ठीक है संजय जी, आप ठीक कह रहे हैं.
This is and let me tell you very honestly, that when you talk to the institute person or the chairperson or chairman, they say, "Sir, we cannot do anything about it. If we insist to the students, they tell us, please don't tell them anything. They will make an issue out of it. That
बिल्कुल
the
ठीक है
teacher
संजय जी, वो
is
कहते हैं वो
harassing
अटेंडेंस
us.
हमारे स्टूडेंट कम हो
That
जाएंगे.
the teacher
बिल्कुल
is
ठीक है.
harassing us. And if the teacher is harassing
बिल्कुल
us, they'll make an issue out of it, and then say, "Sir, we do not do anything," and just take the class and just leave it. So this is a very, very bad kind of a thing which is
बिल्कुल ठीक है
happening.
संजय
How
जी,
do we
आप ठीक
go
कह रहे
about
हैं.
it, addressing this kind of a situation?
आपने बहुत अच्छा सवाल रेज किया. ये बिल्कुल कॉमन फैसिलिटी है नॉन अटेंडिंग कॉलेजेस में, यूनिवर्सिटी भी है, मैं अवेयर ऑफ दैट. अब मैं एक सवाल आपसे पूछता हूँ, क्या हमने ये कोशिश करी है जानने की कि ऐसा क्यों है? अब ये सवाल देखो, क्या हमने कोशिश करी है कि देखो स्टूडेंट 4-5 लाख 6 लाख रुपया खर्च भी करता है, वो वरिड भी है, वो अंडर स्ट्रेस भी है, वो क्यों ऐसा है? अब इसका
So,
जवाब
so
आपने देखा
I
शुरू
will,
में.
let me answer this question. Like I've told you that I raised this issue before one institute, and I was told that, sir, this is the normal trend, and the chairman is very happy also. He feels that, of course, we require lesser faculties, to teach,
नहीं नहीं देखो
and
देखो
and
संजय
it
जी,
will not be very difficult. Yes, sir.
आप ठीक कह रहे
Hmm.
हैं. वो प्राइवेट प्राइवेट यूनिवर्सिटी या प्राइवेट कॉलेज कहते हैं हमारे पैसे आने चाहिए.
Hmm. Hmm.
मैं
Hmm.
आपको एज एन एकेडमिशियन बात करना चाहता हूँ. मैंने
Hmm.
शुरू में 3-4 स्लाइड दिखाई थी.
Hmm.
ट्रेडिशनल सिस्टम में आप, डू आई अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आर द एट्रीब्यूट्स ऑफ ए प्रॉब्लम सॉल्वर, व्हाट आर द एट्रीब्यूट्स ऑफ क्रिटिकल थिंकर, व्हाट आर द
Hmm.
एट्रीब्यूट्स ऑफ क्रिएटिव थिंकर? डू आई नो दिस एज ए टीचर? Answer is
Mhm.
no.
Mhm.
Now, society wants,
Mhm.
एम्प्लॉयर वांट्स कि मेरा
Mhm.
स्टूडेंट डिसीजन मेकर होना चाहिए। अब
Mhm.
जिस स्टूडेंट की टेक्स्ट बुक बेस्ड टीचिंग है, जो किताब में दिया है वही रिप्रोड्यूस करना है, उसमें वो
Mhm.
स्किल कहाँ से आया कि वो
Mhm.
इंडिपेंडेंट सोच सके? मैं
Mhm.
आपको बताता हूँ इसके रीजन क्या है। इसके
Mhm.
रीजन ये है कि हमारे अराउंड लर्निंग फैसिलिटी इतनी ज्यादा है।
Mhm.
अगर हम उसको क्लासरूम टीचिंग तो है, सिर्फ टेक्स्ट बुक टीचिंग, जो हमारे
Mhm.
अराउंड टीचिंग है, यूट्यूब है, एनपीटेल है, दुनिया भर की चीजें हैं, वो
Mhm.
दे आर फार मोर क्रिएटिव, दे आर
Mhm.
फार मोर इंस्ट्रक्टिव, दे आर फार
Mhm.
मोर यूजफुल देन क्लासरूम टीचिंग।
Mhm.
क्लासरूम टीचिंग सिर्फ उसको पता मुझे इससे इम्तिहान पास करना है, इससे मेरे को लाइफ की जो असली इश्यूज हैं, जो मैंने शुरू में स्किल वगैरह की बात जानबूझ के मैं इसलिए करी थी,
Mhm.
आप लोग अप्रिशिएट करोगे, ये चीजें हम बच्चों को नहीं सिखा रहे हैं जिसकी जरूरत इंडस्ट्री में रियल लाइफ में है। जब मैं देखता हूँ यार मुझे इसका कोई फायदा नहीं होना तो मैं जाया क्या करूंगा, तो वो क्या करता है कि वो क्लास से दूर रह के खुद पढ़ता है। अब आप एक और चीज नोट करो, आउटकम बेस्ड एजुकेशन सिस्टम से कि स्टूडेंट को हमें ऑटोनॉमस बनाना है, सेल्फ लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्नर बनाना है। अगर आप इंजीनियर हैं, आपने देखा होगा कि एनबीए की या वर्ल्ड इसकी जो 12 पीओज हैं, वहाँ लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्निंग इज ए वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट आउटकम। सो स्टूडेंट में हमें हैबिट डालनी है लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्नर की, हमें उनको लर्नर बनाना है, स्टूडेंट नहीं रखना सारी उम्र। स्टूडेंट को हमेशा टीचर से रिसीव करता है, लर्नर जो है
Mhm.
रिसीव करके फिर अपने आप सीखता है। क्या ये हैबिट हम
Mhm.
स्टूडेंट में डाल रहे हैं? क्या जो हमारा ट्रेडिशनल टीचिंग सिस्टम है ये चीजें स्टूडेंट में इम्बाइब कर रहा है? ये चीजें
Mhm.
ना तो मैनेजमेंट को पता है, विद ड्यू रिस्पेक्ट एंड टू माई टीचर्स को भी बहुत कम को पता है। वो भी इसीलिए वो भी एम्फेसाइज करी जा रही है कि टीचर शुड रीओरिएंट देयर थिंकिंग, टीचर शुड देमसेल्फ बिकम लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्नर्स। मैं खुद रोज 3-4 घंटे जब तक नेट पे नई चीजें ना पढ़ लूं, तो मुझे लगता है कि मेरी लाइफ में कुछ लैकिंग है। ये लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्नर का जो एक आउटकम है, ये स्टूडेंट में हमें इम्बाइब कर, उनको समझा, पहले समझाना होता है। पहले जब स्टूडेंट समझ जाएगा तब आप देखना उसका रिस्पांस क्या है, स्टूडेंट क्लास में आता है कि नहीं आता। अगर मैंने, मान लो आप इंजीनियर हैं, मान लीजिए मैं व्हीटस्टोन ब्रिज एक्सपेरिमेंट किट से करवा दिया, तो क्या मैंने बड़ी बात करी?
Mhm.
अगर मैंने वही एक्सपेरिमेंट बच्चे
Mhm.
को बताया होता, ये क्यों, हाउ, वाई, ये इसकी क्या एप्लीकेशन है, तो आप फिर रिस्पॉन्स देखिए।
Mhm.
दो सिचुएशंस हैं, इसमें मैं आई एम सेइंग टीचर कोई कसूर नहीं है, ये सिस्टम ऐसा है।
Mhm.
अब हमारी लैब में क्या हो रहा है, क्या लर्निंग है लैब में? किट सिस्टम है, किट से स्टूडेंट रीडिंग नोट करता है और रीडिंग नोट करके टीचर साइन कर देता है, किसी का कसूर नहीं है। क्यों करता है? क्योंकि वो कहता है कि मैंने इम्तिहान पास करना है। तो ये जो एक माइंडसेट बन गया है, इसको हमें चेंज करना है। चेंज करने के लिए ओबी इज ए वेरी गुड पेडागोजी, उसको समझना जरूरी है। जब तक टीचर नहीं समझेगा, स्टूडेंट कैसे समझेगा? टीचर को समझ तभी आएगी जब वो खुद इस पर रिफ्लेक्ट करेगा। अब मेरा एक छोटा सवाल है, हम प्रोजेक्ट अभी आएगा, बाद में आएगी भी, प्रोजेक्ट लर्निंग, प्रोजेक्ट बेस्ड लर्निंग की प्रोजेक्ट हम करते हैं, लेकिन प्रोजेक्ट की लर्निंग क्या है कितने समझते हैं? जब मैं ही नहीं समझता, मैं स्टूडेंट क्या कहूंगा? कहिए, एम आई राइट और रॉन्ग? प्लीज से। अगर रॉन्ग कहोगे तो मैं बहुत खुश हूँ। क्यों खुश हूँ? इट विल, आई विल इम्प्रूव माई ओन थिंकिंग।
So
Right,
you're
sir.
perfectly right, but I have another related
हाँ
question,
जी,
and that is that
नहीं
the
कोई,
management of, like you said,
हाँ,
private institutes and private universities, they are not ready to rectify the system. Actually, they are very happy with the things, how the things are going on.
अब सुन लो, हाँ,
Even the
इसका जवाब दो
affiliating
आप।
universities, they come. Is a please, if even the affiliating universities, they come, they do the inspection, they see everything, they know everything, but yes, they go away after the inspection.
संजय जी आप ठीक कह रहे हैं। आप
So
मेरे
the,
देखिए, वी नहीं, वी आर ए प्रोडक्ट ऑफ ट्रेडिशनल सिस्टम। यहाँ पर ट्रेडिशनल सिस्टम में उस वक्त एनवायरमेंट एंड टेक्नोलॉजी वाज नॉट दैट हाई। अब इस
Mhm.
वक्त नाउ वी आर, इनर्शिया इतना ज्यादा है हमारे इंस्टीट्यूशंस में, हमारे टीचर्स में, कि वी आर नॉट चेंजिंग दैट रैपिडली. लाइफ इज चेंजिंग मच फास्टर, बट वी आर नॉट चेंजिंग अवर कैरिकुलम. आपको बताएं, आज से मैं 10 साल में यूनिवर्सिटी में, एक यूनिवर्सिटी में गया, 15 साल से सिलेबस रिवाइज नहीं हुआ है. आजकल तो ये हाल है कि अगर हर साल सिलेबस रिवाइज नहीं करोगे तो स्टूडेंट आपको कहेगा सर ये तो आउटडेटेड है. अच्छा, स्टूडेंट आपका यूट्यूब पे डाल देगा, स्टूडेंट आपका सोशल मीडिया पे डाल देगा. अब स्टूडेंट कितना एम्पावर हो गया है, आप ये भी नोट करो. स्टूडेंट आपको आपको बोलेगा नहीं, लेकिन आपके अगेंस्ट यूट्यूब पे कुछ डाल देगा. अच्छा, ये जो इस सिचुएशन को अंडरस्टैंड करना है. टीचर्स डोंट अप्रिशिएट दिस एट द मोमेंट. क्यों नहीं है? इसे उनका फॉल्ट नहीं है, क्योंकि जब 20 25 30 साल वो वैसे ही पढ़ते रहे, उनका माइंडसेट वैसा बन गया है. इस माइंडसेट को चेंज करने के लिए हमें अपने आप को ये अंडरस्टैंड करना होगा, फिर इसको इम्प्लीमेंट करना होगा. और वो भी ये वर्कशॉप क्यों की जा रही है? सो दैट आवर टीचर्स, आवर स्टूडेंट्स कैन फोकस कि चेंजिंग एनवायरनमेंट में हमारी क्या रिक्वायरमेंट है. आप जो कह, अच्छा इसीलिए अब मैं एक और ओबीई में आपने विजन के बारे में पढ़ा होगा, मिशन के बारे में पढ़ा होगा. विजन इंस्टीट्यूशन का होता है ना, और विजन में ये विजन कौन रिस्पॉन्सिबल है? मैनेजमेंट. अगर मैनेजमेंट कह रही माई इंस्टीट्यूट प्रीमियर इंस्टीट्यूशन और आपको सैलरी भी नहीं देता है, तो वो क्या बोल रहा है? उसके विजन ठीक है क्या? दैट मीन आउटकम बेस्ड एजुकेशन सिस्टम इज imbibing into itself all those things which are all stakeholders are part of this. Management, owner, student, faculty, parents, they are all. अगर आपने एनबीए का कभी एक्रेडिशन में कभी पार्टिसिपेट किया हो, दे आर ऑल पार्ट ऑफ दिस. इसीलिए वो भी अडॉप्ट क्यों कर रहे हैं? दैट क्योंकि स्टूडेंट एक हमारा एक एंटिटी है, उसको मैंने अच्छा इंडिविजुअल बनाना है. Then parents are playing role, teachers are playing role, institutions are playing role, environment is playing role. That's how it is. इसीलिए हम लोग लेक्चर देते हैं, मैनेजमेंट के अलग देते हैं, स्टूडेंट्स के अलग देते हैं, फैकल्टी के अलग देते हैं. क्यों? टू मेक देम सेंसिटिव कि हमें इस सिस्टम को चेंज करके इस सिस्टम में जाना है. इस सिस्टम में जाएंगे तभी हम चेंजिंग एनवायरनमेंट जो है उसको हम फेस कर पाएंगे. हाँ जी, अब बताइए.
Right, sir. I think you have answered the thing. There are certain I am not there are certain issues. I think let me tell you, somewhere it is the private institutes and the private universities which are mostly there, and the private institutes which are affiliated to government universities.
वो सब चेंज हो गए. अभी देखो, अभी क्या
Hmm.
एम्फेसिस है. अभी कुछ रिपोर्ट थी, वी नीड 2,500 यूनिवर्सिटी चाहिए, वी नीड ऑटोनॉमस कॉलेजेस. ये जो प्रेजेंट ओबी है ना, ये
Hmm.
एफिलिएटिंग यूनिवर्सिटी में सक्सेसफुल नहीं है.
Hmm.
ये इतना सक्सेसफुल नहीं है, लेकिन ये
Hmm.
एक सिस्टम है, इसको हमें अपने आप को रीओरिएंट करना है. अब जो
Hmm.
एफिलिएटिंग है, दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी में यूजीसी राइटिंग द कॉलेजेस बिकम ऑटोनॉमस.
Hmm.
यूनिवर्सिटीज को और यूनिवर्सिटी खोलो. नई यूनिवर्सिटी क्यों बन
Hmm.
रही है? न्यू ऑटोनॉमस क्यों बन रहा है? इसीलिए कि यू डू इट एट योर ओन लेवल, यू इम्प्लीमेंट
Hmm.
ऑन योर ओन लेवल. आउटकम बेस्ड एजुकेशन सिस्टम में इज मेंट फॉर ऑटोनॉमस यूनिट्स. क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ ठीक है, उस वक्त उस टाइम वो जो हो रहा है उस वक्त उस टाइम की जरूरत थी. अब वो चेंज करना है, चेंज में टाइम लग रहा है. एंड वो भी प्रोवाइडेड गाइडलाइन था. जो आप कह रहे हैं वो गलत नहीं है, बिल्कुल ठीक है, लेकिन आप इसको थोड़ा सा थिंकिंग को रीओरिएंट करिए.
Excuse me, sir.
हाँ जी मैडम.
Right, ma'am.
Sir, you said that कि टीचर का माइंडसेट वैसा है क्योंकि उसने पहले से वैसा ही पढ़ा हुआ है.
हाँ
बट
जी.
जब तक जो नई जनरेशन है वो आएगी, उसका माइंडसेट डिफरेंट हो जाएगा. ये गैप तो हमेशा रहेगा ही रहेगा.
नहीं तो ये इसीलिए तो इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए जोर डाल रहे हैं. इसीलिए देखो मैडम, जिसको मेरी समझ आ जाए कि मेरा किसमें फायदा है. अच्छा, अब जो दी इंडस्ट्री एंड द चेंजिंग वर्ल्ड इज फोर्सिंग अस टू लर्न प्रोग्रामिंग. आज से 20 साल पहले बुढ़े लोग जो थे मोबाइल यूज नहीं करना चाहते थे. छोड़ो जी, क्या करना है, आजकल वो लर्न कर रहे हैं क्योंकि उनको मोबाइल में गुजारा नहीं है. आप देखिए जो चेंजिंग एनवायरनमेंट है, जो मेरी पहले मैंने कहा 3 4 पहले स्लाइड मैंने इसीलिए दिखाई थी कि इतनी चेंजिंग एनवायरनमेंट हो गई है. जब तक मैं उसको अपने आप को चेंज नहीं करूँगा, जब तक मैं टेक्नोलॉजी का यूज नहीं समझूंगा, मैं इस संसार में जी नहीं सकता. आप देखिए, मुझे मान लीजिए बस पे चढ़ना है और बस ऐप है, या मेट्रो पे जाना है, तो बैटरी टाइम जो है मैं वहां जाके चेक नहीं करूंगा, वो चेंज हो जाएगा, वो ऐप से चेक करना पड़ेगा। ऐप से मैं तब चेक कर पाऊंगा जब मैं इस टेक्नोलॉजी सावी हो जाऊंगा। इवन आई एम लेट अस से 60 years old, आई हैव टू लर्न दैट। सिमिलरली फॉर द स्टूडेंट, स्टूडेंट को आज जॉब जो है ना, अब परमानेंट जॉब जैसे हुआ करती थी, जो आपको याद होगा कि बहुत सारे टीचर पहले से 10 साल से एक ही कोर्स पढ़ा रहे हैं। अब हर सिलेबस आपको हर दूसरे साल जो चेंज करना पड़ेगा। जब तक टीचर लर्न नहीं करेगा, ही विल नॉट बी एबल टू सर्वाइव। इसीलिए आप नोट करोगे, वी आर एज ह्यूमन बीइंग वी बी फोर्स बाय दी डिसरप्टिव टेक्नोलॉजीज, जैसे इंटरनेट है, आईओटी है, स्मार्ट बिल्डिंग्स हैं, स्मार्ट रेलवेज हैं। अब अच्छा, इनको इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए टेक्नोलॉजी अलग चाहिए, स्किल अलग चाहिए, कोर्सेज अलग चाहिए। अगर ये स्टूडेंट को अगर जॉब चाहिए स्मार्ट बिल्डिंग में पार्टिसिपेट करने के लिए, तो उसको पता होना चाहिए कि ये डिवाइसेस कैसे यूज करने हैं, फैमिलियरिटी होनी चाहिए। अगर
सर आई
हमारे
एम आस्किंग द सेम, मैं सेम बात कह रही हूँ कि जब तक ये इम्प्लीमेंट होगा तब तक सब चीजें ऑब्सोलीट हो जाएंगी, फिर से गैप आ जाएगा।
इसी लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्नर क्यों बनाते हैं? आप जो कह रहे सही हो, लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्नर क्यों बनाते हैं? गो ऑन लर्निंग, एंड लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्निंग इज ए वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट लर्निंग आउटकम ऑफ एनी कोर्स, एनी प्रोग्राम। नहीं देखो, मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, मैं जब तक मैं पहले 2-3 घंटे रोज नेट पे पढ़ के, अभी तक आज के लेक्चर में देखो मैंने 3-4 चीजें, अभी एआई में इंट्रोड्यूस करूंगा कि एआई कैसे हेल्प कर रही है इसमें। जब तक मैं 3-4 घंटे खुद ना पढ़ूं, आई एम नॉट एबल टू गो अलॉन्ग विद। अच्छा, अगर मैं ट्रेडिशनल लेक्चर दे दूं, आप कहें सर इसमें बड़ी बात क्या करी आपने, ये तो हम जानते हैं। लेकिन अगर आपको वही चीज मैं ऐसे प्रेजेंट कॉन्टेक्स्ट में प्रेजेंट करूं, आप कहेंगे ये ठीक है। तो ये चीजें हमें अवेयर होना है और उसको लर्न करना है। लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्नर का पर्पज यही है कि इस चेंजिंग एनवायरनमेंट में, इस डिफिकल्ट एनवायरनमेंट में, यू शुड बी रेडी टू अडॉप्ट सेल्फ। हर चीज पढ़ाई नहीं जा सकती है, हर चीज हो सकता किताब में, थिंकिंग चाहिए एंड सो। हाँ जी, हाँ जी पूजा जी।
राइट सर।
Hello.
हाँ जी,
Good morning, sir.
गुड मॉर्निंग।
I'm Dr. Amrita from BVRIT Hyderabad.
हाँ जी।
I just have a small doubt, sir, regarding course outcomes. I teach a course in engineering, and maybe I'm using all this flip classroom and art, music, storytelling, everything in delivering my lectures. But finally, some one or two students get less marks in the course because they are interested in music or drama or whatever it is, not in engineering. So we use all the methods, but because of their interest, they are not scoring good marks. How will it contribute to those outcomes?
अब
So
देखिए,
as a teacher, should I allow them? Should I allow them to go for those things, or should I?
बिल्कुल अलाउ करो। मैंने खुद एग्जांपल दी, मैं अपने स्टूडेंट को अलाउ करता था ना। शी इज ए वेरी फेमस पन्नू एक्ट्रेस। इसका
How will it contribute to my course outcomes then?
दैट्स राइट। नहीं
Is
नहीं
it positive or?
नहीं, देखो, कोर्स आउटकम तो आप सिलेबस को इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए बनाते हो, ठीक है ना। जो आपने सिलेबस बनाया है उसका कोर्स तो उसी से बनेगा ना। कोर्स आउटकम, उसकी लर्निंग क्या है, तो उसमें आप स्पेशल अटेंशन चाहिए उसके लिए। For
No,
that,
the student is scoring less marks then.
नहीं, आप देखिए, दैट मीन योर असेसमेंट क्राइटेरिया इज एग्जामिनेशन। If your assessment criteria also involves affective domain learning, and your institution takes care of affective domain learning, then this will be taken care of, which means you are following a traditional method. But in this context, the assessment method should be different. Is examination, I'll talk about that also. Examination is a good method for cognitive assessment, but examination is not a good method, question etc., for affective domain or for psychomotor domain. That's why I mentioned this in the beginning, so that you can appreciate the difference between these things. Why are they not, why is it so? Because the learning in the affective domain and in psychomotor domain is intangible, is indefinable. I cannot say do 10 questions. I cannot, how can I judge the team working behavior? This we will discuss tomorrow when we talk about rubrics. The point to be noted is There will be few students who are very talented in the some other, let's say, related or field, as you have mentioned yourself. Here we have to give a special attention to that student. Management has to understand. Institute has to make a provision, and the assessment method has to be as per the, let's say, which domain student is lying. See, now we are finding traditional system that is not adequate. That is not relevant here.
Okay,
Yes,
sir. Thank you, sir.
yes. Another question?
So good morning, sir.
Yes. Good morning.
This is Hemlata calling from Francis Xavier Engineering College, Tirunelveli. So I
Mhm.
have a question regarding the framing of questions, sir. Questions for the subject, actually. How to frame the higher level thinking questions, sir.
Yeah,
No,
and
Using
sir,
I'm
I
just
think
coming to
that
that.
can be covered when we are
Just
talking about the rubrics also.
that can cover then also.
That can be covered, yeah.
Okay, thank
Right?
you.
Okay. Now we continue. Thank you. They are very good questions. In fact, raise these doubts. Then I will try to see how we can fit into the OBE framework. Now look here. You are all familiar with traditional classroom, flipped classroom, cooperative learning, blended learning, problem-based learning, project-based learning. Now see here, the reason I want to emphasize project-based learning is teachers, educators, we are not aware of what are the learning outcome of a
एक
project.
मैडम
Please note here, this is the instructional method. Project-based is the instructional method in which we gain cognitive knowledge, we gain affective knowledge, we gain psychomotor knowledge. Now let us see here. See, project-based learning is an instructional approach in which students get an opportunity to develop knowledge, skills, and competency by engaging themselves in real-life projects which are normally 4 to 6 months duration. There is a strong emphasis on student understanding what it is they are doing, why it is important, how they will be assessed. PBLA fosters lifelong learning and gaining newer skills. आप पूछेंगे, you will ask how it is. This is because we are making the student a self-learner. When you develop the habit of self-learner, you will notice the student will automatically learn new things. With project-based learning approach, students are expected to come up with a working model. So project-based learning, the reason I'm saying all this is not doing a project. Please note here. When I say project, many institutions think project-based learning is giving a project. No, project-based learning is what is the learning outcome of doing a particular project. When I say learning outcome, then I say knowledge, skill, attitude, and behavior. Now see, please see here, if in the for the there are teaching learning activities for cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. For the lecture, tutorial, discussion, laboratory work, they are quite good for the cognitive domain. Group work, seminar, they are good for the affective domain. Lab, experiment, workshops, they are good for this learning in the psychomotor domain. We are doing it, but we are doing it in very limited fashion. Now look here, when I say we are doing laboratory and projects, what are the teaching learning systems here? Learning outcome of laboratory work, cognitive domain, learning outcome of a affective domain, learning outcome of a psychomotor domain. How many of the teachers appreciate these things? Now, if as a teacher I don't appreciate, how do you expect I can ask my students to learn those things? Now, the learning outcomes of a laboratory work, laboratory is also a teaching instructional method. Improve knowledge about they learned the class, help to verify theory, help to measure the statistical technique, correct data, and so on. When I saw it go to the affective domain, team working skill, communication skill, ability to learn independently, ethics, creative, ability to learn from failure, motivation skills. How many of teachers are assessing these things? How many of these teachers are telling the student कि इसमें आपकी learning क्या है? When the student knows कि अरे मैं तो इसमें ये चीजें सीख रहा हूँ, he will become much more interested. Similarly, learning outcomes of the laboratory work, plan experimental work, conduct experiments. Let us say engineering faculty will agree, doing even removing a parallax, many students find difficulty. Doing a torsion pendulum experiment or Newton's ring experiment, many students can do it quickly. Some students take more time. Some students have failed to do it. Their results are wrong. Now, when will they learn it? There is again a psychomotor. Now, if you share such things with the student, if you share these things, if you help the student, what is the learning of that? Please note, I'm learning of that. You will see the difference. अब कई students in a class, there will be at least 15-20% students who will be very good. There will be about 15-20% who will be, let's say, average, above average. There will be at least 50% students who are average or below average. Outcome-based education system says it's the responsibility of the institution and the faculty to see that every student is successful. How can I do that? Then I have to look at what are the deficiencies in the student. What kind of deficiencies are there? Then I have to explain to them. I have to help them to bridge that gap. How to bridge that gap? We have to provide them the direction. Now, this I want to emphasize specifically with you because everyone says, "Sir, we have a project in our class curriculum. We have a project." Now, doing a project at 3 or 4, 6 months and hands-on learning. आप देखते हो इंटर्नशिप्स क्या हैं, दे आर ऑल प्रोजेक्ट्स. अब मुझे ये जानना चाह रहा हूँ कि व्हाट इज द लर्निंग ऑफ दिस. स्टूडेंट स्पेंड 3 months इन इंडस्ट्री. डिड यू एवर ऑल वी असेस इज उसने कॉग्निटिव स्किल क्या गेन किया. हैव यू एवर लर्न ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट व्हाट आर द हिज बिहेवियरल मॉडिफिकेशंस. What if he is working on experimental projects? What kind of precision he is able to develop? We never do that because we leave it to the student. Now, if we tell the student, okay, from this project, let's say the experimental project or a theoretical project or a mix or whatever kind of project is, what is the learning of this? So learnings, once you address the learnings, now then you will see this. So project-based learning is a instructional method. Now, what is the project? A range of activities. Each activity teaches something. Learning from the project activities performed. Learnings are the expected learning outcome. What are those? Now, a project in the first year, a project in the second year, third year, or fourth year, or PhD project, each of the projects had different learning in terms of these 3 domains. Now, when I say project-based learning is an instructional approach in which students get an opportunity to develop knowledge and skills by engaging themselves in real-life problems they come across or may face in the world. Is not just doing the project, but refer to the learning acquired by doing the project. Kindly appreciate this thing. The learning outcome project, I can assure you, many teachers are not able to make out what are the learning outcomes of the project or dissertations. They see, we know that his student will demonstrate ability, apply domain knowledge, critical thinking, analysis and problem solving skills, communication skills, evaluation, assessment, newer techniques, independent learning, ethical behavior. These are all learnings from the projects. Now, please emphasize these in the students. Ethical behavior. Now, copying. How can I stop copying? Ask the student not to copy. It's a natural thing. Student will copy. Why not we explain to them what is the significance of this? Supposing a student had taken observations on experiment, let's say torsional pendulum experiment, and his result is coming wrong. Instead of fudging the result, tell the student that he should find out why he has failed. Why he is not correcting why his readings are wrong. The moment you reflect like this, you are learning. And this learning is a lifelong learning. Are we imbibing this habit among the students? No. not of now, though we are trying to do that. Please remember, again repeating. Now, if teacher cannot appreciate these finer learnings of the project 6 months or 3 months, students will say भैया भाई रिपोर्ट लिख दो, टीचर साइन करा लो, नंबर मिल गए, इम्तिहान पास कर लिया. That's not what the objective is. Now, normal projects, so features of project require collaboration and teacher guidance about the process, how it's being done. If the student carried out based on real world experience and problem, real learning occurred through the project, student choices determine the outcome. अब आउटकम क्या होना है ये टीचर ने डिसाइड करना है. In project based learning approach, students teach students that there is a peer learning. Teachers spend less time teaching individuals. Project based testing develop ethical standards, better prepared for the real world of work. Now, please see here, when you take up the testing and student is failing, अगर आपको उसको ये समझा दो, कन्विंस कर दो that the failure are the pillars of success, provided he learns what mistakes, why mistakes, how it can correct, these steps will enable the student to imbibe those habits which are necessary in real life to succeed. So key features of project-based learning is instructional method is focus on self-learning rather than classroom teaching, integration of knowledge and skills, integration of different discipline domains. Students learn to manage the process and achieve the objective. Let's take a project on robots. Take a project on some IoT systems. Now here, everything is not given in the textbooks. Teacher will not know everything. Students have to investigate. It makes them autonomous. It makes them self-learners. This is what is important. And that's what OB says, lifelong learners. So we have to change their mindset to become lifelong learner. That means if a project is like that, then teaching and fostering, teaching method that I use, like say PBL, instructional method, teaching and fostering higher order thinking skills among students via PBLA. Project-based learning approach instructional method, the project-based learning instructional method teaches the higher order thinking skill which you have learned while in the session of Bloom taxonomy, that is creativity, evolution, like that. Here is just recalling this thing. Higher order thinking skills are critical thinking, creativity, evaluation, analyze, and lower order thinking skills are remember, understanding, and applying. Higher order thinking skills are built on the lower order thinking skills. Lower order thinking skills, our traditional system is very, very good in the lower order thinking skills, but it is lacking in the imbibing higher order thinking skills. OBE says now the changing world demands higher order thinking skills. So we have to modify ourselves, critical thinking now, because lower order thinking skills discourage and limit the learner thinking. Higher order thinking multiplies multi-compression and enhances learner thinking. Lower order learner encourages rote memorization. Hardly any thinking, which multiplies misunderstanding and prejudice. Higher order learning stimulates and empowers. PBL focuses on higher content, basic ideas, and issues taught in ways which actively engage students' reflection and thought. There are many new tools, approaches, especially in engineering education, that are transforming how students learn and engage with the subject. Here are the digital twins. These are virtual replicas of physical systems that allow students to simulate, and analyze real-world engineering problems in a controlled environment. This technology is being used to teach complex concepts in a more interactive and practical way. Virtual and augmented reality. These technologies provide immersive learning experiences, allowing students to visualize and interact with engineering concepts in 3D. For example, VR can be used to explore complex machinery and architectural design, making abstract concepts more tangible. Please see here how these machineries, etc. Online learning platforms like Coursera, edX, and Khan Academy offer a wide range of engineering courses from top universities. These platforms provide flexibility, access to high-quality education resources, making it easier for students to learn. Collaborative tools like Microsoft Teams, Slack, and Trello are being used to facilitate collaboration among students and between students and instructors. These tools help in managing projects, sharing resources, and communication actively. AI and machine learning. AI-powered tools are being used to personalize learning experiences, provide instant feedback, and automate administrative tasks. For example, AI tutors can help students with difficult concepts, while machine learning algorithms can analyze student performance to provide tailored recommendations. These tools are helping to create a more dynamic, interactive, and personalized learning environment for engineering students. Right? टीचिंग लर्निंग ये मैं आपको सिर्फ शेयर कर दूंगा. टीचिंग लर्निंग जो अफेक्टिव डोमेन की है, ये माइंड मैपिंग टेक्निक इज वेरी यूजफुल फॉर दैट. अभी ये इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं हो गई है, आप देखेंगे. और एज ए टीचर यू शुड नो अबाउट दिस थिंग. ए माइंड मैपिंग इज अ ग्राफिकल टूल that visualizes relationship between concepts, ideas, thoughts, activities, etc. What a beautiful thing! How can I say? How can I teach the students about having positive thoughts? How can I assess the student about having all these things? So now see, mind mapping technique encourages thinking, active learning, enhance understanding, and foster creativity. So idea here is mind mapping. For example, there is a main idea. What are the various options which we can consider? Now think on this. ये टेक्स्ट बुक में कहीं नहीं मिलेगी आपको. आपने प्रॉब्लम दे दी बच्चे को, लेट से व्हाट इज ग्रेटिट्यूड, व्हाट इज रिस्पेक्ट, आप मतलब कि व्हाट इज सोशल सर्विस. आपने ये आइडिया दे दिया. इसको करने के लिए क्या क्या पॉसिबिलिटीज हैं. यू आर थिंकिंग दैट वे. आइडिया इज थिंक एंड देन डू इट. सिंपल माइंड मैप फॉर हेल्दी लाइफस्टाइल, जैसे एक्सरसाइज, न्यूट्रिशन, स्लीप, मेंटल वेल बीइंग है. इसमें आगे क्या हो सकता है? गो ऑन थिंकिंग, गो ऑन थिंकिंग, गो ऑन थिंकिंग. So that's how your mind mapping is encouraging the student to think deeply, broadly, and then this will be independent thinking because he learns from here. So mind mapping will give the benefits of planning, creativity, productivity, collaboration, and benefits. These are the, and then you expand it further. ये किसी टेक्स्ट बुक में नहीं है, ये इंडिपेंडेंट लर्निंग है. इट मेक्स द स्टूडेंट्स एन ऑटोनॉमस, इट मेक्स द स्टूडेंट a self thinker, it makes the students to handle problems, to think of solutions, and so on. That's what we were trying to do in the higher order thinking skill, in critical thinking, and so on. So please see here, ये डायग्राम इसलिए दिखा रहा हूँ आपको कि ये सब चीजें गॉड ने हमको दी हुई हैं. They are part of our brain. For example, critical thinking, mathematical, logical thinking, they're all part of this. And mind map, researchers bring out the function of the brain, left and right side brain. These functions can be enhanced further by appropriate techniques such as, because brain is a muscle. Mind mapping technique as a learning method helps us to develop all these things. So mind mapping as a learning tool help us to learn all these things. Another beautiful thing is there are many freeware software available. Freeware mind mapping software tools are available, which can be used to teach students about higher order thinking skills. Software tools have been developed for mind mapping. Some tools are, here is some example. Then AI and mind mapping, AI has been built into the mind mapping tools. They're all freeware available. You can just, as a teacher, you are a self-learner, and do all these things. So with this, I will finish this. I will all say thank you very much.